sponsor for MDR ArtHouse and Café live events. And our biggest tier, Angel Investor, you get everything from all the previous tiers with an ad-in festival booklets and pre- or post-rolls, film festival passes, quarterly silver level sponsor for MDR ArtHouse and Café live events, and a verbal shout-out at the MDR Awards. And something you saw throughout all the tiers and this one of the biggest parts is seeing joy at seeing Media Done Responsibly thrive. And all these tiers and the support we get through Patreon will go towards creating a community very similar to our Cafe Conversations community, where we can have, civil dialogues and share our thoughts and discuss about media that we consume, things that we're seeing in the world, and have a safe space to do that. And all your support goes towards creating spaces like that and supporting artists and filmmakers and media makers to, realize their dreams.
Exactly. And then a little something I wanted to add is that, some of the first two tiers are as cheap as a cup of coffee, really. So you could even think about it like that and think about it as really your contribution to building this community. And another cool feature about Patreon is that you even have the chance to choose topics for like these civil dialogues, and we can discuss them there on like a chat. But there's obviously different tiers for whatever you are interested in, whether you're an artist, a director, a filmmaker, whatever it is that you may be interested in, there's a tier for everyone. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you everybody for listening.
Thank you guys. Technical difficulties? No, I don't know. There we go.
Yes, technical difficulties. All right. Ooh, Aaliyah, your little background is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I cleaned for this occasion.
All right. So we are going to let y'all introduce yourselves.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll go. Hi. My name is Aaliyah. I'm currently a senior at Cal State LA. I'm graduating this spring. It's very exciting. I've been with MDR for like 4 years now. I first took the civic engagement class like Rebecca with Professor Curry, and I don't know, I just felt like this was really something that I wish that I had when I was younger. And I really liked the message and the mission, so I decided to become a part of the MDR family. And I've had some great experiences through this organization. I really love it here. We honestly all are like a really close-knit family, and I love that. So yeah. And I think.
And then I already introduced myself, but we're gonna show you guys a little trivia game to start off. Let me see if I can share my screen. Okay. Oh, Lee's gonna be sharing it. Perfect. All right, so there's gonna be if on your right panel where you have the chat, there's also these little 3 lines, and it says polls. Right there, you can find the questions, and after we ask the question, the poll will show up on your screen, and you'll just you'll have 15 seconds to answer the question, and then afterwards we'll answer and give you a little bit of information. All right, so for our first round one, our first question is, the early women's suffrage movement of the 1800s excluded Black women's voices. Is this true or false? Let me put the timer up. Alrighty. Okay, so the answer is true. The first women's rights convention in Seneca Falls was organized by Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucretia Mott, was only centered around white women and their right to vote. No Black woman, let alone any woman of color, attended, nor were even invited. As the movement progressed, others spoke loudly, including Susan B. Anthony, who stated, "I will cut off this right arm of mine before I will ever work or demand the ballot of the Negro and not the woman." And even though the suffrage movement's efforts led to the ratification of the 19th Amendment declaring women's right to vote, this still did not prioritize women of color, and many southern states maintained voting restrictions.
Okay, next question. So the next question is going to be, who was the first Black woman to partake in the women's suffrage movement? Is it A, Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, B, Sojourner Truth, C, Mary Church Terrell, or D, all of the above? And I'm going to start my timer, or Rebecca got it. Okay, so you guys have 15 seconds to answer this one. A few more seconds left. Okay, time's up. So the answer is all of the above. So Frances Harper, Isabella Baumfree, which a lot of people probably know as Sojourner Truth, and Mary Church Terrell were all involved in the early women's suffrage movement. Harper was an abolitionist and suffrage leader who became the first Black writer to popularize African American protest poetry. Along came Truth when she delivered her very famous speech, "Ain't I a Woman" poem to the Women's Rights Convention in Akron, Ohio. And at the turn of the 20th century, this paved the way for Terrell, who served as president of the National Association of Colored Women and spoke at the National American Women Suffrage Association Convention in Washington, D.C., February 1898.
Oh, Rebecca, I think you're muted.
Thank you. All right, so Claudette Colvin refused to give up her seat to a white person as a protest during the civil rights movement. Is this true or false? And then 15 seconds. Okay, time's up. So Colvin is a pioneer. Oh, sorry, the answer was true. Colvin is a pioneer of the 1950s civil rights movement. On March 2nd, 1955, she was arrested at the age of 15 for refusing to give up her seat to a white woman. Colvin's experience is what inspired the efforts by the organizers of the civil rights movement to coordinate acts done by Rosa Parks. This was to showcase a media representation of what has happened to many Black folks like Colvin. This was an intentional movement that was organized with other protests like the bus boycott.
Okay, next question. This one is going to be, can you identify these women leaders? So we got 4 pictures at the bottom. Just look at the pictures, see if you can recognize any of these women. We're going to have some answers, about 6 answers to pick from. So yeah, so we have the answers here. You get 15 seconds. The clock has already started. Okay, and I think also I just want to let you guys know briefly, we are going to have to take a quick pause. I think we're going to have to reset the session just to make sure that we can continue with our trivia questions, just to let you guys know. So don't be alarmed if we have to take a brief pause. Okay, well, before the pause. So the answers to the question. So I'll start with the first woman, who is on the very far left. Her name is Marie Louise Bottineau Baldwin.
Okay, there she is.
You know what? I was just like talking. I didn't even know. From where was the last thing that you guys
From the beginning.
From the beginning. Okay, I'm gonna start all over. Okay. So on the far left, we have Marie Louise Bottineau Baldwin. I'm not sure if anybody got that one, but she was born in 1863. She was a North Dakota Turtle Mountain Chippewa native. She spent her life defending Native American rights and in 1911 became a key spokesperson for Native women. She was a strong advocate for women's suffrage. She also participated in the 1913 suffrage parade and in 1914 was among other key suffragists who met with President Wilson to encourage him to support women's right to vote. To the right, we have Zitkala Shah. She was born in 1876. She was one of the first prominent Native women writers who helped found the Society of American Indians to advocate for Native American citizenship rights. She moved to Washington, D.C. in 1916 to dedicate the rest of her life to political activities. She served as the secretary of the Society of American Indians, edited its journal, and served as a lobbyist in Congress. Zitkala Shah's work was also influential to the passage of the Indian Citizenship Act of 1924, which granted U.S. citizenship, to American Indians. Next, we have Susan LaFlèche Picotte. She was born in 1889. Dr. Susan LaFlèche Picotte was the first American Indian woman in the United States to receive a medical degree. When she was a child, she watched a sick Native woman die because a white doctor would not give her care. So this inspired her path to become a doctor. In her remarkable career, she served more than 1,300 people over 450 square miles, giving financial advice and resolving family disputes, as well as providing medical care at all hours of the day and night. Lastly, we've got Mary Golda Ross. She was born in 1908, and Ross was the first known Native American woman engineer. She earned a master's degree in 1938 and landed a job as a mathematician at Lockheed, working on the P-38 Lightning fighter plane. She worked her way up the ranks at Lockheed and became the only woman among the original team at Skunk Works. She wrote a number of professional and theoretical works and was one of the authors of the NASA Planetary Flight Handbook Volume 3 about space travel to Venus and Mars. So, very cool. I think definitely want to hear about that.
I keep forgetting about the mic. All right, round 5. We have, who was the first woman to run for president of the United States? Was it Hillary Clinton, Shirley Chisholm, Sonia Sotomayor, or Kamala Harris? And 15 seconds.
And while the answers count down, I just want to let you guys know that we are dropping answers in the chat now. So yeah.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so you guys can just drop your answers in the chat. So the answer is Shirley Chisholm. Chisholm was the first African-American woman in Congress in 1968, and the first woman and African-American to seek the nomination for President of the United States from one of the two major political parties in 1972. Although Chisholm was the first woman to run for presidency, Clinton was the first woman to be a presidential finalist/nominee. So that's an interesting fact for you guys.
Next round, round 6. It's another true or false. Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera are both transgender women who led as leaders of queer liberation. True or false? 15 seconds. Drop your answers in the chat. Okay. So that is going to be true. Johnson and Rivera were both trailblazers in the transgender rights movement and fighting for the right to gender self-identify during a time when social and criminal persecution of gay people was still common. They both bonded through their shared feelings of being outsiders. Together, they created STAR, which stands for the Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, which advocated for the rights of young transgender people and offered meals and sanctuary to houseless youth.
All right, round 7. As quickly as you can in the chat, write the names of some women in politics, past or present. Go. AOC. Yeah. Shirley Chisholm. Awesome. Okay, we can look up the some women in politics now. All right, so first off, we have Sylvia. Oh, that should be. So sorry, that's a typo, but that should be Sylvia Mendes. In the early 1940s, Mendes was only 9 years old when she was turned away from enrolling in an Orange County school in California, designated for whites only. This event led her parents and other families to sue the school district and win the landmark case Mendes versus Westminster in 1946. Next, we have Sonia Sotomayor. In 1979, Sotomayor served as an assistant district attorney, which eventually paved her way to becoming a U.S. District Court judge appointed by George H.W. Bush. Under Bill Clinton's administration, Sotomayor made her way to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit in 1997, and little over a decade later, Barack Obama nominated her the highest court in the land. Next, we have Ilhan Omar, one of the first 2 Muslim women elected in Congress, and previously served in the Minnesota House. Omar's election also made her the first Somali American in Congress and the first naturalized citizen from Africa. Her victory spurred the House to end its 181-year ban on headwear, and Omar became the first woman to wear a hijab on the House floor. Lastly, we have Rashida Tlaib. Tlaib is one of the first 2 Muslim women in Congress, along with Ilhan Omar. She is also the first Palestinian American woman in Congress. Tlaib is a member of the Democratic Socialists of America and the first of 2 women of the organization in Congress.
Okay, this is our final trivia question. It's going to be a true or false. Patty Mink was the first Asian Pacific Islander in the U.S. House of Representatives. True or false? Start the timer. And I said true. Okay. It's my turn. It's impossible. So the answer is going to be true. Patty Matu Mink was an American attorney and politician from the U.S. state of Hawaii. She became the first woman of color and the first woman of Asian Pacific Islander descent in the U.S. House of Representatives. She served until 1977 and was re-elected in 1990. As a congresswoman, Mink fought for gender and racial equity, affordable childcare, bilingual education, and became a supporter and one of the authors of Title IX, the Education Amendment. Recognized for her work, Mink was asked by the Oregon Democrats to run for United States president with the support of their party. Their focus on the anti-war movement attracted Mink, and she decided to run for president. Unfortunately, she only received 2% of the vote. After this, Mink remained active in politics and served as the president of the Americans for Democratic Action. So yeah, there's our trivia game. Hopefully you guys learned something new or interesting today. I definitely did. So yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Anais, if I can get you to raise your hand and I'll bring you back on stage. Oops. There you are. Perfect.
Hello.
Hi. Sorry for all these technical difficulties. We are going to start the cafe conversations next, the reason that we were all here. And I'm going to introduce, just 1 second. Nope, that is not what I want. All right. And if the share screen that I'm about to show is too small for you, you'll notice in the corner there's 4 little arrows, and it'll open up the page for you to access a little easier. All right. Let me know if we can see it. Cool. Okay. So welcome to our Art House and Cafe. Cafe conversation is Women's History Month. Just a little bit about the conversations and how the flow will go. The goal of these conversation was derived from the living room conversation model. Our goal at MDR ArtHouse and Café is to offer a platform that offers an accessible and amicable way of effectively communicating across differences while building understanding and relationships. So we'll get a little deeper into that once you have your program leaders at each desk. It'll be led by Anais and our other wonderful interns that you have already met. So they'll each guide you throughout this conversation. So no worries, no stress. And they'll be sharing a couple of conversation agreements. So what will this consist of? A group of 4 to 7 people participate in each cafe conversation at your little tables that you're at. It takes place over the course of about 90 minutes, 60 minutes rather. And rather than arguing and debating, each member will take a turn listening and being curious while engaging one another. So again, emphasizing the importance of respect, listening, and community. We will take a pause and our leaders will meet. Discussions will begin.
Earlier about how to get to your table. So I just want to let you know there are different tables here that have different names on them. And so what you're going to do is click on one of the tables and add yourself to the table. Once you do that, you'll see other people at that group. You'll be able to share your camera, share your screen, and open your mic as well. So I just want to make sure that everyone understood. I know there was some confusion earlier on how to do it. Okay, see you in a bit. Because we're going to start inviting some of you to come up on stage and share your experience. But go ahead.
Wow. Oh my gosh. First of all, thank you so much, everyone, for participating in our conversations. And Wow, Mike, my heart is beating so fast because of just the depth that we went into. And even, okay, look, I'm a facilitator. I helped put together these conversations, the facts. Aaliyah, we put together this information, right? But I did not expect at all for the conversation to go in the direction that it did today and open up this channel, this space for us to tap into not just like this critical information and this necessary conversation for us to have, but the healing, the trauma for us to be relieved from the trauma and the healing that is associated specifically with this topic of women's history, and how that delves into our personal experiences of being hypersexualized, rape culture, being threatened in our bodies and being perceived or having to be perceived a certain way, like being a woman and being a woman and women, people who identify as women, just the experiences we go through and just feeling unsafe. Like that just came up so strong, and to still experience that to this day and to hear everyone's experience stories, like that was, whew, oh my gosh. I just, chills and goosebumps literally. And it just goes to show that, we may have made progress and representation, and we see powerful women in politics and in positions of power. And that's just the front of it though. Clearly, we still have so much work to undergo to undo the perspective and the behaviors that women experience behind the scenes, which is involved, which is what we experience, this hypersexualization, and being unsafe in our bodies. I could go off. I just feel like I'm still coming down from the conversation. Wow. Thank you all so much. I really don't even know what else to say. I'm still coming down from it, but please, someone else share.
I got you.
Yes, please.
Yeah, all of that is exactly why we created this space. We need these rooms to be vulnerable and to have these conversations. And it's so great when there's a mixture of genders and ages and, just all kinds of different people for different perspectives. We have, Sean Hill, you're here. Hey. We love Sean. He has been an amazing speaker for us for past couple years. Anywho. And yeah, to the same token, we kind of went off a little bit off script, but I loved it. We each were able to share personal stuff from, we had a couple males in our group, and I feel like they needed to hear some things. And again, as we learned, none of this is personal, just sharing information. And I love everyone's ability to be receptive and just sharing the love all around. So what we'd like to do at this portion of the show is invite you all to come up on stage with us and share your reflections about the whole process. Just so you know, once you're on stage, it is recorded. We'd love for you to share your camera, see your beautiful faces. But again, no pressure, totally understand. Before we add people, and the raise hand feature, which is how I will bring you on stage. For y'all, I think it's on the bottom of the screen. So you'll see the raise hand. Just go ahead and click that and I will bring you on up. And you can have your little 15 seconds of fame. Anyone on here on stage want to share before we invite our friends up?
Aaliyah.
I was like, I always have to share.
Yay!
But yeah, you know what? It's been a while since I've done one of these conversations. And it's like, every time I finish, it's like, wow. Like, I feel it, like, in my heart. I feel it in my soul. And I just want to say, like, to my group, I appreciate, like, everybody listening and everybody, like, partaking. Well, for everybody, I wasn't able to, like, be a part of everybody's conversations, but it was, like Anais was saying, like, it brings up a lot of trauma, but it's so validating to be able to speak with other people who have had the same experience as you, and in a way where you don't have to feel uncomfortable or weird about it or judged or anything like that. Like, I love how safe this space is.
Oh,
If I may add, I just love how every conversation I find out something new from like so many people's different perspectives that I wouldn't think about, and then that brings me to think about it in my own perspective and how it's happened to me. So I just want to also thank my group for all their input, all their experiences and everything that they brought to the table. It was a really good talk.
Yeah, this was my first time facilitating a cafe conversation. I've been on like the back end of things a lot, but it was really, I mean, just exciting, and I really loved hearing from all my group members. They were all really receptive and shared some really like personal and also heartening things. Like, I don't know, just the personal stories that they told were one, enlightening, and two, made me hopeful for the future for sure.
I love that,
I'll
Lee.
just, yeah, I'll just share briefly. Erica, we see your hand, and if you want to come up on stage, make sure you do the raise hand feature. I hopped around between groups, and it's always a very unique and powerful experience because I kind of jump in the middle of a conversation, to be able to hear the different dynamics in the different rooms. And there were definitely some threads that were very similar, but I love when we break through those barriers. So I heard people who were passionate, I heard people who were, who challenged some of the thoughts, and perspectives. I heard people who were self-reflective as well, and sharing a part of themselves that they may not have shared outside of this space. And so that's what this place is for. And I'm super excited to hear from some of your perspectives as well, what's happening with you. So come on up. I think, Erica, your hand was up, so go ahead and click it again. Okay, Rich.
All right, and handing you the mic, Erica. I thought you were talking to me for a second, and I was like,
Oh no, yeah. When every single time I hear Erica, I'm like, what? So yeah, and also with the K too, which is like
the best way.
what's up. I hardly ever see people with the K. It's always a C, and they're squares, respectfully. Anyone who's a C, sorry. You can't be us. But moving forward, I'm sorry. I would like to say I really did enjoy the group I was with. I had the pleasure of being with Annie, Aaliyah, and Tommy, and it was, a lovely space, and I'm so grateful to have just shared that room, shared those discussion topics as well, and some of the prompts, as well as the facts and analyzing. We had an amazing conversation about the patriarchy, which always gets me a little riled up. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm so grateful for people being so receptive to the words I had to say, in the space that was given to me today. I'm always a fan of taking opportunities like these to connect with different people outside of my my recent network, or people that I talk to every day, so it's good to expand and reach out to different folks as well. So this was an amazing opportunity, and I thank everyone in my group and other groups as well.
Thank you, Erica. All right, anybody else with the hands up? Sean, I feel like you want to come up even though you weren't in the discussion. Raise those hands. Don't be shy, y'all.
Yeah, anybody from Lee's group want to come in? This was Lee's first time leading. We have to hear how it went. I already know because I was in there too, and I know it was fabulous. But
Please be kind.
pop in, share some love and perspective. It's Sean, you know you are always camera ready, yo. Always. I'm gonna put your message on stage. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. That's not the one I was trying to put up on stage. I'm learning.
I know that hair's looking right, Sean.
Sean said somebody else hop in. So if Sean says for somebody else to hop in, somebody else definitely should hop in. You want to have no regrets. Sean makes us laugh, as you can see, always.
Nobody. Oh, okay. Jose, yay!
Come on up.
Handing you the mic.
Okay.
Yes.
Am I on?
Yes.
Thank you. I just want to share that it was very nice experience. And Lee, you did a very great job in monitoring and guiding the session. You did really good. And thank you because you always have like a nice cheering up words after we comment, and you come up with more comments and reassuring our thoughts. So thank you. You did really good. Yes. And I really enjoyed this time, even though it was almost an hour, right? Conversation. It was really good. Everybody in our group, they were participating, and we share our personal stories sometimes. As Professor Kerr mentioned, sometimes we haven't mentioned our side of our story with our members of our own family, but this session seems to be very safe, and anybody is really willing to listen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's see. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Jose, for sharing. Lee, I had no doubts that you were going to be amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate the compliment.
Nobody else? We had such great conversations. Oh, yay. Tommy, handing you the mic.
Natalia, perfect.
Yay, there y'all are.
Perfect. Yeah, keep your hands raised until she brings you.
Yes. Where did you go? Tommy, here you go.
Oh, hello? Is everyone here?
There you are.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, okay, sorry. Alright, so, again, I have to thank Chanel for inviting me to this event. This event was really, meaningful. Because, like, I feel like I never really knew a lot about this stuff till now. I know I hear, like, glimpses and such, but it was nice to hear from y'all, like, all of y'all's perspective. You know, especially Erica and, Aaliyah, Aaliyah and
Anais.
Anais. Yeah, Anais. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, it was really crazy to hear all of y'all stories and such. You know, and kind of hope that things get better. So y'all have to kind of like speak out about all this stuff, and such. But yeah, again, thank you for inviting me to this event, Chanel. It really means a lot for sure.
Absolutely, Tommy. Thank you for coming and sharing your perspectives and thoughts. That makes the difference. And all the love that you dropped in the chat and communicated as well was important.
Awesome. Thanks, Tommy. All right. Next, I'm going to bring Natalia up to stage, handing you the mic.
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, well, I just wanted to say this was very informative. And it was definitely totally different than what I was expecting. Usually when I join talks, it's usually just the host speaking, but I really like the fact that it was very interactive. It made me just want to chime in to like every question that you guys were asking. I really like the fact that, you guys brought up stuff that's going on in the media currently and how you asked for our inputs. And yeah, I loved it. It was great.
Thank you so much, Natalia. Natalia was a little quiet in the beginning and would drop some little comments in the chat, and then I loved once you got going. I was like, yes.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna open my mind. Let's just talk about it. Open dialogue.
Yeah, and then she turned her camera on, and I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being vulnerable and
I
everything
want
that
to
you
share.
For sure.
Natalia has a podcast she's going to be creating soon, so everybody get ready for her podcast coming up.
Yes. I did tell the group I will be launching my podcast soon. It's basically I'm a film major, so I want to review films and movies, but I want to do it from a female perspective because I feel like there's a lot of males that do it, but particularly from a queer female's point of view. So watch out for that.
Yay, go Natalia. Oh my. Well, I genuinely meant that's what I'm saying.
Yay.
This is why I don't need to be sorry, I don't want to.
You're great. It's good you were just sharing that, right?
You don't know the amount of times we've been like, oops, mic's on.
Right.
Just like,
at least that was good positive feedback.
Yeah. Thank you, Natalia. All right. Kat,
okay.
we'd love to hear
hello. I'm blushing.
Yay, your beautiful face.
Oh no. Thank you for the nice nomination in the chat to get me to come out of my shell. I had a really nice time. I appreciate Professor Curry for introducing us to Media Done Responsibly, and thank you all, you ladies, and people for bringing us all together, and I very much appreciate it. I joined as a Patreon member last month and encourage the rest of y'all to join as well. And today we were with Rebecca and Erica, and we had a really nice talk. And like Erica mentioned, there were some times where information was shared to better explain things from a feminist perspective, and I appreciated how well it was received by the men in our group. They did not try to, make excuses for behavior that's been historically silencing women or excluding women. They thanked her, and the rest of us for sharing our thoughts and experiences. And, so it was a safe space, a brave space that you've all created here. I think the structure of it, sorry, I'm so nervous. The structure of how you have this, I've never heard of air meet before. So it's kind of so cool how interactive it is. And it's nice you set boundaries and rules and just like, positive ways for us to interact so that we can be heard and respect each other. Even if we don't agree, it's impossible to please everyone, and it's impossible to agree on everything and or to know everything. So for us to all come together and learn together, and I learned a lot today myself, and it was a beautiful thing. And thank you for having us. I appreciate everyone. Have a nice day. Bye.
You are awesome, Kat. Thank you so much.
Oh, I so much. Sorry. Thank you.
Kat, you almost brought me to tears. That is like every reason that we have created this space. And it's always so amazing and heartwarming for us to hear that just authentically from our guests, that our mission and our goals are being met in this space. So
yes,
thank you
you
for
make
saying
a
that.
very big positive difference in our society. There's definitely was a big need for this. Oh, I don't know if I do it again. This is a space that, is going to inspire more people to speak up and create these type of companies, organizations, communities, because we're stronger together. And if we don't have a place to gather and to share information and to talk about things that we don't know about or like to know more about or feel a sense of community and togetherness, then it won't grow. So all you are making that possible and make more of an impact, a positive difference, and So thank you. Bye.
Now you're trying to make us cry.
I was just about to say that. So, mission achieved. Thank you so much, Kat. Thank you. And
Wow.
that is a beautiful reflection of what we're here to do. And you letting us know that it is creating that very experience for you is so powerful and meaningful and it keeps us going. So thank you.
Yes, and I'd like to add, thank you so much, Kat. And it is the very fact that you, the people that we invite, this community that you all are receiving, what we have to share, that this is even, it makes what we're doing purposeful. I mean, it's already purposeful in itself, but the fact that you're receiving what we have to share, sharing the information, tuning into these conversations and growing with us as a community, that's just what brings the intention to this space of us coming together and learning and growing together. Hi, my son has a word to share. But yes, thank you so much.
Future MDR leader right there.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, looks like Sean is calling out Eric and Bailey to come on stage. Are we gonna do it? In the meantime, I would like to add to the conversation, feminism, I think, gets such a bad rap, just the word feminism. It's historically been women who, burn their bras and women hate men. And basically, the only thing that you need to know whether or not you're a feminist is, do you believe that women and female presenting women and female, all of us deserve the right to be equal? Do we deserve the right to have that dollar to dollar in our pay, have that equal representation, have not be sexually sexualized? Do you believe that? Yes or no? And if the answer is yes, then you're a feminist. So, Bailey, handing you the mic.
Hello, sorry. I just definitely agree with what Erica just said. But I was in the group with Lee and thought she was amazing. But it was just great to be able to hear all different perspectives and get to hear such personal stories from people. It really just it made you feel like you were a part of something bigger than yourself, and so it was really great to be a part of this. So thank you all for hosting it.
Thank you so much, Bailey. Yes, I appreciate your contribution and you coming on camera and on stage as well to kind of share your perspective and your experience. This was your first one, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes. Kudos, but not the last. That's why.
Yeah. Thank you, Bailey. Come back for more. All right. Anyone else want to come up on stage? It's fun, I promise. Yes, Sean. All right. Jeffrey, I was waiting for you. Handing you the mic.
Hi.
Hi.
So, what Erica just said is what she said in our group as well. Like, she made it like really down to the point. If you agree that women deserve the right to be equal, deserve all that respect, then yeah, you are a feminist. And I kind of identify like that as well. I say kind of because I've had a misrepresentation of what feminism was in the past, but like for sure getting that exposure now, especially when attending these meetings, I really learn a lot from here. And I really share a lot as well, a lot that I know. Like, I put an example of the reason I'm a feminist is because of my mom, the way I was raised. It's like I have a lot of respect for my mom, both my parents, but like focusing on my mom right now. Like, I was raised by her, I was taking care of her. She was like she's my rock. She holds me down. She's the best. I love her so much. And so yeah. I didn't really know what else I was gonna say. That's why I was kind of debating whether I was gonna come up on stage or not. But yeah, I'm just going off.
I love that you shouted out the mamas, though. Okay, that touched my heart because I'm like, I hope my son says that about me when he gets older. I love that.
Yeah, thank you so much for hosting this. This is really fun. It's my second time coming here. I think you guys remember. So yeah, so I really enjoy coming to these. I learn a lot. So.
And thank you, Jeffrey, as well, for your openness and always sharing authentically and being open to the teachable moment. That is something that is important. And I appreciate you being receptive and listening, you know, when an idea may be something that's new and something to open up to and to experience from a different lens than you have experienced it before. It helps all of us grow. So
Yes, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Jeffrey. I really appreciate, like Chanel said, how vulnerable you always are, Jeffrey. You are always the first to comment, and I love it. And you are receptive, and you always have something great to add. So we hope you keep coming back.
Also, I just want to add something real quick too, because I've been hearing feminism come up a lot, and I feel like yes, feminism, women's rights is absolutely crucial to embody, but also just when you're here for the mission of what MDR goes for, which is humanity, just representing humanity in a full, authentic way, then every single human that falls within that spectrum we ride for. Not just being feminism, but we also ride for the full spectrum of humanity, truly. So it's deeper than just being a feminist, right? But it does also involve and include women's rights and being able to advocate for women, and especially misrepresented, underrepresented women, BIPOC communities, trans, queer, all of that. So yeah.
Yeah, that was something that we discussed. I think the reason that feminism has gotten such a bad rap is because it wasn't for a long time intersectional. All we learn about in our history books are, you know, we have maybe a page of one person of color, or we have a page of, you know, I don't even think there's LGBTQ stuff in it, but it's all just whitewash history that we've learned. And our definition of feminism, our definition of humanity incorporates all of that, incorporates all of the LGBTQ people, all of the underrepresented women, men, everyone. And I think that's what's important to note about feminism, is ours includes all of that. And should.
And should. And speaking about intersectionality and the term womanism that Alice Walker coined, yes, come on now, talked about the multiple perspectives and also understanding that men were a part of womanism as well. So it's not something that makes me here and puts you out here, but lets us know that we all have to honor, understand, and respect the value of women, of our contribution, of us moving forward. Everybody has to be a part of that piece in order to fully move our humanity forward, because we can't leave anyone out if we're talking about humanity, because then what happens is humanity is put in a very small box, and it looks like a cisgendered white male and whomever he brings along with him. And that is the story that's centered. But when we center other stories and we push forward stories that are not traditionally pushed forward, and we do that intentionally, be clear, we do that intentionally because nobody else is going to do that. We do, and because that space has been open and it's been missing for so long, that we have to put forth extra energy. We must put forth more dialogue. We must continue to press the issue until it becomes normalized enough where we don't have to, where it is the standard that we're talking about everyone the same way that we might talk about. I know in one group we talked about history lessons and the dominance of, Eurocentric male perspectives going throughout the history books. But until that is on an equal playing field, until all of these voices are represented powerfully, those that are not, we're going to push for them, we're going to fight for them, we're going to keep pressing them until they become a part of the normalization of all of our humanity. So with that mic drop from Sean. Ashe, yes.
Thank you.
And I'm also going to drop the link back into the chat with the MDR Virtual Film Festival, because that's what this is about, making sure that you have the power to tell your stories, and we want to amplify.
And with that, the wonderful Sean Hill.
What? Oh, yep.
Wait for it. Hey.
Wait, check. Can you hear me now?
Well, now you're muted.
Oh my gosh, there we go.
There you go.
That was exciting. Oh my God, I miss y'all.
Same.
Yes, we miss and love you, Sean. Yes. Oh.
And look at Lee. Lee, you're such a speaker right now. Oh my gosh. Oh, y'all don't even know. Me and Lee go way back. Okay, so this is really nice. I think the main thing I wanted to contribute in hearing what I've heard so far, y'all, was that I remember the day I found out women were people too was mind blowing. It was mind blowing. I was like, what? Like, human being people, they're women too. They have stories, and they're not just here to be objectified. Like I was learning my whole life through music and movies and everything in the world. So it was really, man, y'all, to be able to pinpoint those kind of discussions and conversations growing up, and even later on in life, to get to that place where I was learning more, I think so much more about just the actual feminist perspective, like Erica was saying, where it wasn't everything that people that try to spread disinformation about it was, but it was also that kind of freeing mentality and mindset that we're all in this together, right? And that all our power is interconnected, that we can all have power, right? I had to tell a lot of men, I'm like, yo, you don't lose power from sharing it. Like you just don't though. But it's okay. And then the last thing I remember in having a few conversations about even the Me Too movement, and how many friends of mine that were men, there was a good amount, not everyone had this feeling, but a good amount of men I noticed were taking it personally. And they were taking like these personal stories about women that hurt them to broaden that and put it on the entire group of women. And I was like, man, no. I was like, no, I don't know if you know what this is. It's not the fact that women can get into clubs for free that should be making you so upset right now. I was like, I don't know why that's coming up. I don't know why that's a discussion, homie. Let's break that down, right? And then there were some guys I remember that said this thing about like, well, they get everything they want and things like that. And I was like, what? Wait, what do you mean? What do they get? You mean like acid thrown in their face in these other countries where that's still legal to do? Like, what do you mean they get things for free, right? And we had to get it down to the level of just the actual rights, actual like human rights. And I think that was the best place to really break those, I think those like stereotypes that they had in their mind of what they saw equal rights as for women. And it was just great. It was just great. So I wanted to just share those. Yeah, those were some tough conversations, but they were worth it, y'all. Like, they were so worth it. And anyone that finds themselves in those kind of weird moments of like, why don't they understand this? It's literally because we never learned how to understand it, and I really appreciate Miss Chanel for doing that, for breaking that whole concept down of normalizing it and really just making it easier to talk about this when we have tools like y'all teach at MDR here. So like that was really special to see that too and hear that. And I'm so glad. I'm so happy. Last thing I'll say is that I'm so happy that the men in the space were respecting the space and felt like, like they were hearing it and listening, and that made me so happy, y'all. You don't even know. I'm like, whoo! Thank goodness there were no jerks here today. Thank goodness. No, I'm kidding. Look at that. I don't even use jerks, really. I don't call people jerks. That's messed up. But yeah, anything else? Any other, like, oh my gosh, comments or things like y'all want me to support on? I'm happy to.
I just want to thank you, Sean, for always just being the humanitarian that you are and always coming with the words of wisdom. And you hopped in and you weren't even involved in the conversation. You like just added this beautiful moment, and we miss you. So come around more.
I will. Oh, I will. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to echo Erica because literally, Sean, you just spoke life, and it was like you were already a part of the conversations. You don't even know. It was like you were like, hey, I was already here, and this is what I want to add. So thank you so much, because it makes a difference also to hear that from a male perspective. Mm. And to say, hey, and also not only to hear that, but to hear that you have challenged other men to be more self-reflective, and also to say, you know what, that's not what this is about, right? This is not about, because a woman is saying we need to be represented more, or because, we need equity happening. That's not an opportunity to say, well, think of the worst experience that you've had, with a woman. That's not what it's about. We don't do that when we're, working towards, I did a lot of marches and protests, et cetera, to support Black men who have been harmed or shot or killed. We don't say, oh, well, I'm not going to do that or speak up about that because it's not me. We understand that interconnection, and that when I support you, I do support me. When I support you, I'm supporting a need that's there. And so for you to say that and to speak that is so super powerful. And I hope that you know and understand that you are here on purpose. And I know that there are folks who needed to hear that. So thank you so much. And I know we have like 7 minutes left. So I know, right? But I want to thank you so very much. And I want to thank everybody who has come up on this stage. And Sean, this will not be your last time, because I was thinking about you. So I'm not surprised you hopped in here. Yes.
Oh man, y'all. Oh, okay. Because I'm always down to share more and listen more, and I'll share it while I'm listening somehow. You don't even know. Like, yeah.
We feel your vibes.
Oh, good times, y'all. You even reminded me of one other story, but yeah, do y'all need to wrap up? Are we closing up? We closing up shop? What are y'all doing now?
We have like 6 minutes.
Okay. Because you made me remember one last story, actually, that in terms of men reaching out to other men and how much of a responsibility that it is on us, right? In the same way that a lot of racism nowadays are on the hands of other white brothers and sisters to talk about it with their brothers and sisters of the Caucasian persuasion. So it made it more urgent for me to have those conversations once I realized that too. And I still even remember when there was a guy I met that I didn't know, and he used the HO word, right, to describe a woman that he was dating. And I'm not kidding, y'all. I'm a grown man. I was like 30 something years old when he said this thing. And I was like, the best way I realized I could approach this moment to tell him that that wasn't cool, I was like, let me do it like a friend, right? I said, let me do this like a friend would. And I said, oh man, did you just say that, HO? And then I haven't heard that since high school, man. What are you doing still using that? Right? And I said it like that to him. And he had that moment where he was like, oh, nah, man, it's nothing big. Like, you could see him kind of deflate. His own ego was like kind of deflating about why he was using that word and what it meant and how I took it. And it was great to see him want to switch up in that moment. There was a moment like where some part of him knew it was wrong to use that word, basically. And when we call each other out as men in a positive way, even, and not get on each other and like, why are you doing that? Why are you, it gave it a whole nother kind of feeling that we don't have to fight as much as make aware, right? We're just waking each other up kind of thing. And I think I want to shout out one last group that helped me do that. It was the UN Women LA. They have an LA chapter here of the UN Women. And every month that I would go to their meetings, I would leave feeling like a better human being and a better man. And I invite every male, oh my gosh, like, and however you identify as male, of course, it's worth checking out. It's worth going to. It's beautifully orchestrated and structured. Every conversation there. And the topics are everything from self-love and who we are as people to the kind of feminism that's happening all over the world and different topics that you'll learn about every month. So I highly recommend that. I just want to give them a shout out as well, for sure. Yeah, I really do thank them a lot for everything they've contributed to my own development as a feminist. Yeah.
Thank you, Sean. That was great. We have 3 minutes left, so I'm going to say goodbye. But if y'all want to hear more from Sean, follow him on Instagram. He's an amazing poet, humanitarian, Thanks. All the things. Sean, what is your IG again?
It's Let's Bend Reality. I like how this means we're covering it up somehow. Like no one knows we're talking right now.
Let's Bend Reality. Yes, go follow him. He's amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. And yeah, and NIEs, by the way, thank you for sharing your space too as well. It was great hearing you speak officially in an event like this. So much respect. I look forward to hearing more of your work as well, and I'll be following again for sure. I'm gonna refollow you. I don't know.
Thanks, Sean. Oh, wow. What an amazing day. Thank you everyone for being here. Again, we want to remind you, if you like this conversation and you want to see more of them, join our Patreon. Come have a coffee with us, have another conversation. If you know any friends in the film industry, send them to our film festival. We'd love to hear that. We want to hear your stories. So if anyone else want to add anything? I just can't believe how great this was. Nobody else? Okay. Well,
90 seconds left. Leo, Becca, Lee, Anais. Yeah. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Appreciate all of you.
Have a great one. Have a great one. Continue.
Come to our next one.
Come to our next one.
Monthly.
Next month. Yes.
Monthly. Yes.
Follow us on all the socials: Instagram, Media Done Responsibly, Facebook. We always update with what we got going on. Tell your friends, tell your mamas, tell your daddies.
Tell your mamas, tell your aunties. Send in a testimonial too. We would love to receive some testimonials.
Oh, thank you, Jeffrey. Same to you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Have a great one.